What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here is Legitical Response. We cover political news. We keep you up to date and keep you informed with everything that the government does. And the government right now, we talk about it a lot. They've gone rogue. The Biden administration is outright out of control, destroying this nation, destroying the economy, destroying our borders, destroying our foreign policy, destroying our pocketbooks, destroying the grocery store. By God, Red Lobster is closing 50 freaking stores. Yeah, I just read that headline. Red Lobster, for crying out loud, is closing 50 stores. That is not to say of all these small businesses that are going out. That's not going to make national headlines that we haven't heard about. You know, this country is failing right now, and our leaders have failed us. These people just don't care. They vote in the interests of the lobby. They vote in the interests of the corporations. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about the American family. It seems like they're seeing the country burn, and they're just trying to grab everything and get out before it all collapses on them. But, you know, the outright abuses of power by the Biden administration is unreal, you guys, and it just blows my mind. Blows my freaking mind. They have destroyed the founding fathers' vision of this country. They set up Congress to be able to oversee the executive branch, to make sure that the people in control don't get out of control. They have levers to take people out of office, impeachment, and the like, to get people out that have gone outright tyrannical. It's called oversight. We have an entire committee, a congressional committee, an oversight committee. I'm sure you guys know it well. James Comer is chairing it right now. And they just don't care about oversight whatsoever at all. And we've covered this story, and we're going to continue because we've got some more on it. And I promised you guys I'd keep up with it, so here we go. House GOPers moving forward with contempt charges against AG Garland over Biden interview tapes. Yeah, that's right. So to break this down for anybody that might be new to the channel that hasn't seen one of my previous videos on this, we covered it 3 times now, I believe, because yeah, they've been pushing these stories like, oh, they might charge Garland with contempt of Congress. And they'd put out a story, so I covered. But now it looks like we're going to go forward with it. There's going to be a hearing, I'm sure, and then they're all going to vote on it. Then it's going to go to the floor, the House floor, for a vote. So we're going to see what happens. But this all breaks down from Robert Hur's investigation into Joe Biden's handling of classified documents, right? There was this big old years-long investigation. Robert Hur, you know, he done all the digging, quote-unquote digging. It came to the conclusion that Joe Biden's memory is poor, and he's an old man, and a jury would be sympathetic to this guy and wouldn't convict him, right? Like, let me know down in the comments right quick. Do you think that it's a prosecutor's job to decide that, well, you know, we've got the smoking gun, we've got all the evidence to convict, but he's such a nice guy, y'all. I don't think a jury would convict him. Like, let's say somebody murders somebody else, right? Take, for instance, okay, let's say we got a serial killer on the loose. Let's say Glenn from down the road, your next door neighbor, happens to come outside when this serial killer is walking down the street, right? Everybody knows the serial killer's face. The cops just can't catch him. So Glenn, he sees the guy, he pulls out his gun and kills him, right? So, yep, we've got the case. The police bring him in for murder because you can't be a vigilante, y'all. The police bring him in for murder. As a matter of fact, Glenn called the police, said, hey, I just killed this serial killer. Hey, and the cops show up, they do their investigation, they have witness testimony saying they saw it, they have video because you just so happened to be on your phone and you decided to film the interaction and you saw your neighbor, your good friend, your neighbor kill, let's say, classified documents killer. So he kills the classified documents killer. All right, so it goes to investigation. They start investigating. Goes to the prosecutor. The district attorney gets all the case and gets everything together. He brings you in for interview, and you're like, "Yeah, Glenn, I had the video. I filmed it, But Glenn is such a nice guy. He's old and he can't really remember things too well. So he's a nice guy, but he did it for sure. Right? So the district attorney gets all this information and then decides that, oh, he's not going to bring the case because you said that Glenn, old man Glenn from next door, is such a freaking nice guy. And he's old and he's a doddering old man, and he drinks milk every single morning, goes out, walks out and gets his newspaper and brings your newspaper to you. He's such a nice dude, right? Goes to church every single day. Just the best upstanding, a pillar of the community, if you will. And the prosecutor decides he's not going to charge this guy because he's such a nice guy. What would you think about that? Wouldn't that give credence to just allow anybody to become a vigilante as long as they're a nice person? Yeah, that's essentially what Robert Hur did. Okay, I know it's not as extreme as a murder case, but you had all the evidence laid out. You had Biden admit to it. Admit to stealing classified documents, hoarding classified documents all over the damn place, keeping them in a box in a garage. Right, just open, where Hunter Biden had access to these classified documents, for God's sakes. Anybody and everybody could have had access to these classified documents, and you've got all this information. And because it's the president, and because he's such a nice old man, he's not corrupt in the least, you just decide. So that's what happened, essentially. That's what Robert Hur is telling us, that he's got the smoking gun, he's got all the evidence, he's got an audio tape of Joe Biden saying that, hey, these are classified documents and it might be illegal for me to talk to you about it, but I need to write my book because I need to make $8 million off of this book deal, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you about these classified documents, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you about some of the stuff that's in these classified documents, and I know it could be wrong, but I'm sorry, we've got to do this anyway. I've got to get my freaking book deal, and you have to write my book. We've got all this evidence. It's all there. And he decides not to prosecute. Well, the House Oversight Committee decides that, hey, there's something funny going on here with this. Calls Robert Hur in for a committee hearing and all this other stuff, questions him for like 5 hours straight. And, they're like, hang on, there's some funny stuff going on here with his testimony. There were some questions raised that left more questions. In other words, how about that? How do you like it when you have questions that only open the door for more questions? Yeah, that's just great. So the Oversight Committee says, we want the audio tape of the interview that Robert Hur did with Joe Biden. And the Biden administration, Merrick Garland, says no. Now, hang on. We've already given you a transcript. And then that's where, the Oversight Committee comes in and says, yes, it was redacted. We want the unredacted audio tape. We want that audio file. We want to listen to what Joe Biden said outright. And they said no. Blows my freaking mind. The House Oversight Committee announced Monday it will move forward with contempt of Congress charges against Attorney General Merrick Garland over his refusal to comply with a subpoena for audio recording of President Biden's interview with former special counsel Robert Hur. Hur investigated the 81-year-old president's handling of classified documents and released transcripts of the pair's interaction revealed the president confused key dates during his sit-downs. The Republican-controlled panel will hold a hearing May 16th in which members can debate and consider adding amendments to the contempt resolution before recommending the full measure to the full House of Representatives for a vote. The House Oversight and Judiciary Committees issued lawful subpoenas to Attorney General Merrick Garland for the audio recording of President Biden's interview with Special Counsel Robert Hur, yet he continues to defy our subpoenas, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer said in a statement. A subpoena was issued against Garland on February 27th for transcripts, notes, videos, and audio files related to Hur's probe. The Justice Department has provided Congress with a transcript of Hur's October 8th and October 9th interviews with Biden, which showed the president forgetting such things as the year his son Beau died of brain cancer and the year Donald Trump was elected president, which, by the way, in case nobody remembers, was 2016. He took office January 20th, 2017, in case Joe Biden is listening to this video. The Attorney General has refused to provide lawmakers with audio tapes of the lengthy interviews with the DOJ, fearing they will be used to score political points. So what? Doesn't matter. Does not give them a reason to deny oversight to the overseers, for God's sakes. These audio recordings are important to our investigation of President Biden's willful retention of classified documents and his fitness to be President of the United States, Comer said. There must be consequences for refusing to comply with lawful congressional subpoenas, and we will move to hold Attorney General Garland in contempt of Congress. Hur, a former Trump-appointed U.S. attorney for the District of Maryland, submitted his findings about Biden's handling of classified information in early February. His 388-page bombshell report noted there was evidence that the commander-in-chief willfully retained and disclosed classified materials, but his team concluded there wasn't enough to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a lie. They proved it beyond a reasonable doubt. Like I said, they had the smoking freaking gun. They had an audio tape of Joe Biden talking to his ghostwriter, telling him, hey, this might be illegal for me to do. I might not be able to talk to you because you don't have classification certifications. I just wanted to say it that way. I know that's not the proper way to say that, but I just love saying classification certification. I don't know why. They had all the evidence. Like I said, a laid out case. Glenn is on video shooting the guy. Glenn called the cops, for God's sakes. Once again, like I said, Joe Biden is on audio tape telling his ghostwriter that this might be wrong. Joe Biden turned the documents in himself, or he got his lawyers to do so. Yeah, all the evidence is there, y'all. All of it. An open and shut case. There's not enough for reasonable doubt. You know what? Reasonable doubt, yeah. I wouldn't say reasonable doubt on that. Yeah, that you could have some doubts, sure. Prove it. You can't prove anything. Prove me wrong. You can't prove nothing in this world. I can logically work around any argument that you have. Guaranteed. Put any argument down in the comment section. Anything you want to. I can give you reasonable doubt as to why you can't prove that. I can do that with anything. You could go outside and piss in the yard, film it, and send me the video. I could just say, hey, that's AI generated. I'm just saying. Reasonable doubt my ass. Hur also expressed concern that a jury would perceive the oldest president in U.S. history as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. Yeah, that was the exact reason, by the way. A jury would be sympathetic. That is not a prosecutor's job, and for God's sakes, but that's whatever, you call it prosecutorial discretion. Sure. Don't charge the guy because whatever. I don't care about that. What I really care about is the Biden administration, Merrick Garland in particular, not complying with oversight. That destroys the oversight ability of Congress. Because why else would they comply with any other oversight? Now they can just go do whatever the hell they want to, right? Like, Congress really doesn't have any leverage here. They can hold him in contempt. But guess what? Those contempt charges, they have to send that to the DOJ to recommend a prosecutor at the DOJ prosecute Merrick Garland. Do you really think that's going to happen? So, no, that just gives free rein for the Biden administration to do absolutely anything it wants to. It doesn't care about the courts. You might think, well, they'll bring him to court. They'll sue him over it. He doesn't care. Look what he did with student debt loan, for God's sakes. They told him you can't do that. And he goes and does it anyway. He found a workaround. Executive orders, my ass. Yeah, we need to cull the presidential power, because this is outright BS. This has just gone well beyond the vision of the founding fathers. They would be rolling in their graves so damn fast, it would be like a perpetual motion machine. You could literally hook up some electric generator to the forefathers' skeletons in the grave and get, I don't know how many gigawatts of power out of that, because they'd be spinning that freaking fast in their grave. It's outright insane to me, y'all, and nobody else seems to care. You don't hear this on the mainstream news. You don't hear any pundits talking about this. I seem to be the only one that's bitching about it and freaking pulling my hair out, because the DOJ, they're supposed to be the absolute authority for the justice system, for God's sakes. That's the highest form of justice in this country as far as prosecution. And they are outright denying oversight. Just blows my freaking mind. Blows my mind. But let me know if that blows y'all's mind. Out of the back side of your head, out of the side, out of the top, it doesn't matter. Out of the front, for God's sakes. Does this really piss you off, is my point that I'm trying to get to. Does this not piss you off that they just refuse oversight? Like, oversight isn't a thing. Like, who cares what Congress says? That tells you everything you need to know about the Biden administration. And I am looking at every single person out there that voted for Biden. And anybody that votes for him again, God help you. That's all I got for this one, y'all. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.